Join us at Women of Courage and celebrate the achievements of women.
Today, I choose love. From my past, my future, to my family and friends, I choose love. With everything we've got going on in the world today, all the hate and negativity, love is all we have, and it's all we need. If you can start each day with love, you will watch your world change. But the time is now to forgive, to forget, to move on. Do this and your perspective will change. If I know one thing, I would rather live in a world with love and openness than a world full of pain. And it's our choice to believe in something bigger than us. One world, one people, one love.
Keeping with our mandate to provide meaningful information to help you manage your life, the Women of Courage Show is announcing two workshops that will be held in September and October of 2019. Please put these dates on your calendar. The dates are September 14th and October the 5th. The Women of Courage Show will be conducting two workshops. The workshops are entitled What You Must Do to Win and Life Saving Advice. The workshops will be held at the Southfield Pavilion in Southfield, Michigan in the multi-purpose room. The workshops will be held from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Regular tickets are $20. Renee from the WHPR station is the contact person for tickets and vendor information. Her phone number is 707-881-7363. If you are sick and tired of your life, join us and become a woman of courage. Wishing and hoping is not going to cut it. If you want to live a fulfilling and fruitful life, you must dare. Do not miss these workshops. You need this information to manage your life. Information that will help you do more than just survive. You can earn more money. You can live in a larger home. And you can drive a better car. Stop trying to bed your girlfriend's husband. Build a life of your own. During the workshop, you will become a stronger thinker. You will be better at seeing and facing the truth. You will learn how to be quiet when necessary, and you will leave behind your fantasy world. A lot of work has gone into developing these workshops. You have never attended a workshop such as this gathering. These workshops were designed to provide you with information that will not only help you, but you will not forget. This information will change the course of your life and the lives of your children. You will receive the benefit of 20 years of research. We look forward to seeing you there. During the last show, I discussed some of Colin Kaepernick's history to you so that you could appreciate what this man gave up when he said no. Many people may think what he did was easy, that it did not cost him anything because he had already made millions of dollars with the 49ers. True, he is rich, but this man gave up something that he loved. How many of us can walk away from something that we have loved for years? Colin Kaepernick had been playing sports since the age of 9. Sports governed and defined his life. He lived to play sports. Kaepernick was born November 3rd, 1987, which means Colin Kaepernick was 29 years old in 2016 when he began protesting by not standing for the national anthem during the preseason games. This means he had played sports for 20 years of his life. He played college football until 2011. He played professional football from 2011 to 2017 when he became a free agent, walking away from 20 years of a life's ambition took courage and grit. Here is some more of his history. He became just the fifth player in NCAA history to pass for 2,000 yards and rush for 1,000 or more yards in a single season. He was named the Humanitarian Bowl MVP despite Nevada losing after having 370 yards passing, three passing touchdowns, two interceptions, and adding 15 yards rushing with a rushing touchdown. At the conclusion of the same, Kaepernick won the WAC Offensive Player of the Year. He was the first sophomore to win this award since Marshall Faulk of San Diego State did in 1992. He was also named first team All WAC quarterback. In the 2009 Major League Baseball draft, Kaepernick was drafted in the 43rd round by the Chicago Cubs. He decided that he wanted to continue to play football at the University of Nevada and he chose not to sign with the Cubs. Kaepernick finished his junior season with 2,052 passing yards, 20 passing touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and 1,183 rushing yards and 16 rushing touchdowns. Kaepernick led the Wolfpack to an 8-5 record and a second place finish in the WAC behind the undefeated Boise State. He was named second team All WAC quarterback for the season. During the 49ers' third preseason game of the 2006 season, Kaepernick was noticed sitting down during the playing of the Star Spangled Banner, as opposed to the tradition of standing. During a post-game interview, he explained his position, stating, "I am not going to stand up to show pride in a flag for a country that oppresses black people and people of color. To me, this is often larger than soccer, and it might be stingier on my half to appear the opposite method. There are people on paid leave after a series of African American deaths caused by law enforcement that led to the Black Lives Matter movement," and adding that he would not, in fact, no, he said he would still protest till he sounds like the American flag, that it represents what it's purported to represent. During the 49ers' fourth and final pre-game season game of 2016, Kaepernick opted to kneel during the United States national anthem instead of sitting as he did in previous games. He explained this call to change was a trial to indicate a lot of relation to former and current United States military members, whereas still protesting throughout the anthem, once having a conversation with a former NFL player and a United States military veteran, Nate Boyer. Kaepernick was going out of his way to show that he was not trying to insult the United States military. After the September 2016 police shooting of Terrence Cruther and Keith Lamont Scott, Kaepernick commented publicly on the shooting, saying that this is a perfect example of what my protest is all about. Photos then surfaced of him wearing socks depicting police officers as pigs. In a statement, he acknowledged wearing them as a statement against rogue cops. See, the newspapers and the reporters were trying to shape him as a person that was against police officers. No, Kaepernick was not against police officers. He was against rogue cops, those that shoot black people in the back and then lie and say that the black man had a gun. Kaepernick maintained that he and his family had friends and families in law enforcement and that there are cops with good intentions who protect and serve, and that he was not targeting all cops. Kaepernick went on to kneel during the anthem prior to every 49ers game that season. After his national anthem protest, Kaepernick pledged to donate $1 million to organizations working in oppressed communities. He donated $25,000 to Mothers Against Police Brutality, organization that was started by Colette Flanagan, whose son fell victim to police brutality. It was not like he was protesting something that was trivial. The death of a person at the hands of a police officer is not trivial, especially when the community considers that death murder. In 2018, Kaepernick announced that he would make the final $100,000 donation of his $1 million pledge in the form of 10,000 donations to charities that would be matched by celebrities. You notice that his protest incited other people to join him in making that $10,000 matching pledge. Although the NFL endured an 8% decline in viewership during the season 2016, there were fans that expressed their concern about Kaepernick and his desire that he remain unsigned by the team after his contract with the 49ers ended in 2006 due to his action. There are more people concerned there are more fans concerned about Kaepernick not being signed than those fans that were concerned because he refused to stand for the national anthem. People are not stupid. They understand police brutality. Also in 2016, Kaepernick founded the Know Your Rights Camp, an organization which holds free seminars to disadvantaged youth to teach them about self-empowerment, American history, and legal rights. Following his departure from the 49ers in 2016, Kaepernick went unsigned through the off-season and 2017 training camps, leading to the allegation that he was being blackballed because of his on-field political statements as opposed to his performance. Baltimore Raven owner Stephen Biscotti considered signing Kaepernick during his free agency as a backup to the current Ravens starting quarterback, Joe Flacco. He did not go through with this as he believed the signing would result in a heavy backlash and criticism from the general public. In November 2017, Colin Kaepernick filed a grievance against the NFL. He accused the NFL owners of collusion to keep him out of the league. The NFL requested to dismiss the case but was denied by an arbitrator, which meant that case had to go to trial. On February 15, 2019, it was announced that Kaepernick reached a confidential settlement with the NFL and withdrew his grievance. Therefore, to be an active, you must be focused, determined, as development is not a simple process, as there are many ideas and beliefs about what constitutes an appropriate development. I want you to remember Colin Kaepernick gave up something that he loved, and yet, unlike Muhammad Ali, I do not believe Colin Kaepernick will ever play professional football again, to the shame of this country.
What are you trying to accomplish? What would you like this, to be the end game for you?
That's basically. I mean, ultimately, it's to bring awareness and make people, realize what's really going on in this country. There are a lot of things that are going on that are unjust. People aren't being held accountable for, and that's something that needs to change. That's something that, this country stands for: freedom, liberty, justice for all, and it's not happening for all right now.
Is this something that's evolved as a philosophy in your mind, and how has this kind of progressed that you make a stand like this?
It's something that I've seen, I've felt, wasn't quite sure how to deal with originally, and it is something that's evolved. It's something, as I've gained more knowledge about, what's going on in this country in the past, what's going on currently. These aren't new situations. This isn't new ground. It's things that have gone on in this country for years and years and have never been addressed, and they need to be.
Will you continue, Colin, to sit? Will you continue to sit?
Yes, I'll continue to sit. I'm going to continue to stand with the people that are being oppressed. To me, this is something that has to change, and when there's significant change, and I feel like that flag represents what it's supposed to represent, and this country is representing people the way that it's supposed to, I'll stand.
Specifically, what would you like to see change in order for you to stand?
There's a lot of things that need to change. One specifically is police brutality. There's people being murdered unjustly and not being held accountable. Cops are getting paid leave for killing people. That's not right. That's not right by anyone's standards.
Colin, so many people see the flag as kind of a symbol of military. How do you view it, and what do you say to those people?
I have great respect for men and women that have fought for this country. I have family, I have friends that have gone and fought for this country. And they fight for freedom. They fight for the people. They fight for liberty and justice for everyone. And that's not happening. I mean, people are dying in vain because this country isn't holding their end of the bargain up as far as, giving freedom and justice and liberty to everybody. It's something that's not happening. And I've seen videos, I've seen circumstances where men and women that have been in the military have come back and been treated unjustly by the country they fought for, and have been murdered by the country they fought for on our land. That's not right.
Do you personally feel oppressed? Personally?
There have been situations where I feel like I've been ill-treated, yes, but this stand wasn't for me. This stand wasn't because I feel like I'm being put down in any kind of way. This is because I'm seeing things happen to people that don't have a voice, people that don't have a platform to talk and have their voices heard and affect change. So I'm in a position where I can do that, and I'm going to do that for people that can't.
Is this the first year that you haven't stood up? Did you do it other years, or is this the first time?
This year's the first year that I've done this.
You did all the preseason games so far?
Yes.
This is the first time it was noticed?
Yes.
How did your teammates respond when you explained yourself today, and what was the support like for you?
The support I've got from my teammates has been great. I think a lot of my teammates come from areas where this might be a situation. Their families might be put in this situation. It's something that I've had a lot of people come up to me and say, you know, I really respect you for what you're doing and what you're standing for. So to me, that's something that I know what I'm doing what's right, and I know other people see what I'm doing is right. It's something that we have to come together, we have to unite, we have to unify and make a change.
What do you say to the people that say, hey, you're doing the right thing, but you're going about it the wrong way?
I don't understand how it's the wrong way. To me, this is a freedom that we're allowed in this country. And going back to the military thing, it's a freedom that men and women that have fought for this country have given me this opportunity by the contributions they have made. So I don't see it as going about it the wrong way. This is something that has to be said. It has to be brought to the forefront of everyone's attention. And when that's done, I think people can realize what the situation is and then really affect change.
You've done it every preseason game. Are you almost relieved that it took this game and the questioning that followed to let your voice be heard?
It wasn't something that I really planned as far as it blowing up. It was something that I personally decided I just can't stand for what this represents right now. It's not right. And the fact that it has blown up like this, I think is a good thing. You know, it brings awareness. Everybody knows what's going on, and this sheds more light on it. Now, I think people are really talking about it, having conversations about how to make change, what's really going on in this country, and we can move forward.
Are you concerned this is seen as like a blanket indictment of law enforcement in general?
What was that?
Are you concerned that it can be seen as a blanket indictment against law enforcement in general?
As far as what? I don't really understand what you're trying to get at.
People getting murdered by police. I mean, do you think that it's seen as sort of an indictment against police?
There is police brutality.
Yeah.
People of color have been targeted by police. So that's a large part of it. And they're government officials. They're put in place by the government. So, you know, that's something that this country has to change. There's things we can do to, you know, hold them more accountable, make those standards higher. You have people that practice law and are lawyers and go to school for 8 years, but you can become a cop in 6 months and don't have to have the same amount of training as a cosmetologist. That's insane. I mean, someone that's holding a curling iron has more education and more training than people that have a gun and are going out on the street to protect us.
Colin, you plan on doing stuff beyond sitting?
What was that?
Do you plan on doing stuff beyond sitting during the national anthem, as far as activists kind of rolling your sleeves up and getting out in the community?
Yeah, most definitely. There are things that I have in the works right now that I'm working on to, you know, put together in the future and come to fruition soon. Those are things that I'll talk about as we get closer to those days.
Colin, you say that it's a good thing that this is blowing up now because it's getting some attention. Any concern about the timing of it, a critical part of training camp, and the possibility of it being a distraction?
No, I don't see it as a distraction. I think it's something that can unify this team. It's something that can unify this country. You know, if we have these real conversations that are uncomfortable for a lot of people, if we have these conversations, there's a better understanding where both sides are coming from. And if we reach common ground and can understand what everybody's going through, we can really affect change and make sure that everybody's treated equally and has the same freedom.
Cap, has anybody from the league or the team or anybody said tone it down or anything? Because clearly you're speaking your mind right now. It doesn't seem that anyone's trying to, from the organization, whatever, is trying to quiet you.
No one's tried to quiet me, and you know, to be honest, it's not something I'm gonna be quiet about. I'm gonna speak the truth when I'm asked about it. This isn't for a look, this isn't for publicity or anything like that. This is for people that don't have the voice. And this is for people that are being oppressed and need to have equal opportunities, you know, to be successful, to provide for their families and not live in poor circumstances.
Have you been pulled over unjustly on court? You know, in your mind, have you been pulled over unjustly or had a bad experience in that regard?
Yes, multiple times. I mean, I've had times where one of my roommates was moving out of a house in college, and because we were the only black people in that neighborhood, the cops got called and all of us had guns drawn on us. I mean, came in the house without knocking, guns drawn I'm one of my teammates and roommates. So I have experienced this. People close to me have experienced this. This isn't something that's a one-off case here, a one-off case there. This has become habitual. It's become a habit. So it's something that needs to be addressed.
Colin, there are, 2,000 players in the NFL. You're a lone voice here as far as taking this stand. Why do you think you're the only one doing this?
I think there's a lot of consequences that come along with this. There's a lot of people that don't want to have this conversation, that they're scared they might lose their job, or they might not get the endorsements. They might not be treated the same way. And those are things I'm prepared to handle, and those are things that other people might not be ready for. It's just a matter of where you're at in your life, where your mind's at. And at this point, I've been blessed to be able to get this far and have the privilege of being in the NFL and making the kind of money I make and enjoy luxuries like that. But I can't look in the mirror and see other people dying on the street that should have the same opportunities that I've had and say, you know what, I can live with myself, because I can't if I just watch.
Do you think you might get cut over this?
I don't know. But if I do, I know I did what's right. And I can live with that at the end of the day.
Does any of this reflect your relationship with the 49ers or with the NFL? Is this any part of that?
No, this is about the way people have been treated by this country.
When you addressed the team today, Colin, how long did you talk, and what was kind of the tone of it? It seemed like you were able to convert one person into your line of thinking that was a little skeptical.
No, it was a conversation. They asked me to talk and just explain why I did what I did and why I felt the way I felt. And that's something, I had an open conversation with them. I told them why I felt that way and why I looked at things the way I do. And a lot of it has to do with the history of the country and where we're currently at. And, I opened it up to all my teammates. Come talk to me if you have any questions. If you want to understand what I'm thinking further, come talk to me. This isn't something that should be hidden and shouldn't be talked about. These conversations need to happen, and I think it's something that can bring everybody closer.
Were there a couple guys that voiced how they felt against what you're doing to you?
There were, I've had people say, I want to understand further, let's talk. So I've had those conversations, and we'll continue to have them with my teammates. But it's something that the knowledge of what's happened in this country and is currently happening is something that I think everybody needs to know. And when you have the knowledge of those things, then you can make an educated decision on, what you really feel and what you want to stand for.
Has any of this been a distraction?
In terms of politicians or people outside the sports world to tell you that they support you through this?
I've had a few people reach out. Quite a few actually. Saying, we really support you, we're proud of you for taking that stand, we respect what you're doing, we know a lot's going to come with it, but we're behind you. And, that means a lot. That means that I'm not the only one that feels this way, and I'm not the only one that sees things this way.
Is any of this going to distract the team from getting to the Super Bowl this year? Is there, are you guys talking more today about this, or are you talking about the plan to get to the Super Bowl?
No, we're focused on football while we're in meetings, while we're on the field. That's what our focus is. But in our free time, we have conversations about this. And that's not something that we should be ashamed about or shy away from. We talk about football, we handle our business there, but there's also, a social responsibility that we have to be educated on these things and talk about these things.
Colin, did you consider bringing, forming an alliance and getting teammates to join you in this? And if not, why did you decide to go it alone?
This isn't something I'm going to ask other people to, put their necks out for what I'm doing. If they agree with me and feel strongly about it, then by all means, I hope they stand with me. But I'm not going to go and try to recruit people and make sure hey, come do this with me, because I know the consequences that come with that, and they need to make that decision for themselves.
In that same vein, did you reach out to anyone before you did this to seek their counsel, say, hey, what do you think about this?
This is a conversation I've had with a lot of people a lot of times over a long period of time. So it wasn't something that, I planned on having a conversation about at a particular time. It just so happened it was the other night that people realized it and talked about it. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Oh, that's all right.
Clearly, we understand why you're doing this. You want to bring a voice to other people. You want to raise consciousness about certain issues. Are you concerned? So much of the talk with the 24 hours has been about you and not necessarily the issues. Are you concerned that that could happen?
I do think that, the talk has been more about me, more about, I know a lot of people's initial reactions thought it was bashing the military, which it wasn't. That wasn't my intention at all. I think now that we have those things cleared up, we can get to the root of what I was saying and really address those issues.
Since you've done this, of other players who feel the same way but maybe not ready to step forward publicly?
What was your question?
Other players who are kind of feel the same way that you do but are afraid to really step forward publicly like you have.
Yeah, I know there's other players that feel the same way. I've had players reach out to me. Once again, it's not something I'm going to ask them to put their necks out. I know the consequences that come along with my decision, and if they feel strongly about it and want to stand with me, then I hope they do. If it's something they're not ready for, that's what the conversations are for, and they can make that decision, when they're ready or if they're ready.
Do you feel you'll be safe? Do you feel you'll be safe in some of the road cities that you go to, and will you take some precautions? I mean, that's a legitimate thought.
Not really too concerned about that. No, at the end of the day, if something happens, that's only proving my point. Yeah, that's.
Dr. Edwards has some experience with public stances such as this. You were talking to him before practice. Is he someone you consulted with at any point when you decided to do this?
Once again, it wasn't something I consulted anybody on. It was a conversation I had when someone asked me about it. Dr. Edwards is a good friend. He's someone I talk to a lot and run a lot of things by and have a lot of conversations with. And we have a lot of similar views.
Colin, the fact that this is an election year, does this have anything to do with the timing?
Once again, it wasn't a timing thing. It wasn't something that was planned. But I think the two presidential candidates that we currently have also represent the issue that we have in this country right now.
You want to expound on that?
You have Hillary, who's called black teens or black kids super predators. You have Donald Trump, who's openly racist. We have a presidential candidate who's deleted emails and done things illegally and is a presidential candidate. That doesn't make sense to me, because if that was any other person, you'd be in prison. So what is this country really standing for?
Well, it is a country that's elected a black man president twice, Colin. Can you see people say why the outrage in a country that has elected a black president, has done many things, sacrificed a lot of things for freedom?
It has elected a black president, but there are also a lot of things that haven't changed. There are a lot of issues that still haven't been addressed. And, that's something over an 8-year term. There's a lot of those things that are hard to change. And there's a lot of those things that he doesn't necessarily have complete control over.
If you would say, what would it be a success for you on this? Just in the short term.
No, that's a tough question, because there's a lot of things that need to change, a lot of different issues that need to be addressed. That's something that it's really hard to lock down one specific thing that needs to change currently.
Okay, last thing, Colin. My wife's a cosmetologist, and she has very extensive training.
Yeah, see, and it's amazing to me that she has more training than officers that are supposed to be protecting people.
Now listen to President Barack Obama when he answers a soldier who questioned Colin Kaepernick not standing for the national anthem. The president's answer is why Barack Obama is considered one of the nation's greatest presidents. Notice the grace and confidence exhibited by the president, Barack Obama, when he answers this question. His skill as a statesman is unmatched.
I believe that us honoring our flag and our anthem is part of what binds us together as a nation. And I think that for me, for my family, for those who work in the White House, we recognize what it means to us, but also what it means to the men and women who are fighting on our behalf. But I'm also always trying to remind folks that part of what makes this country special is that we respect people's rights to have a different opinion and to make different decisions about how they want to express their concerns. And the test of our fidelity to our Constitution, to freedom of speech, to our Bill of Rights, is not when it's easy, but when it's hard. We fight sometimes so that people can do things that we disagree with. But that's what freedom means in this country. And so, my hope would be that as this debate surfaces, we're always reminding ourselves that in a democracy like ours, there are going to be a lot of folks who do stuff that we just don't agree with. But as long as they're doing it within the law, then we can voice our opinion objecting to it, but it's also their right. And, I think that it's also important for us to recognize that sometimes out of these controversies, we start getting into a conversation, and I want everybody to listen to each other. So I want Mr. Kaepernick and others who are on a knee, I want them to listen to the pain that may cause somebody who, for example, had a spouse or a child who was killed in combat, and why it hurts them to see somebody not standing. But I also want people to think about the pain that he may be expressing about somebody who's lost a loved one that they think was unfairly shot. And one of the things I always say about American democracy is it can be frustrating, but it's the best system we got. And the only way that we make it work is to see each other, listen to each other, try to be respectful of each other, not just go into separate corners. And I do hope that anybody who's trying to express any political view of any sort understands that they do so under the blanket of protection of our men and women in uniform, and that appreciation of that sacrifice is never lost.
Oftentimes, fear is defined as fantasized experiences appearing real. We all fear something. It could be doing what's never been done, or being scared for no just cause. These fears hold us down and create a fantasized, albeit unreal, experience. If you must move ahead in life, you must stand up to your fear. If you must be successful, you must pull through the unreal experiences that fear has created in you. And trust me, you need a good dose of courage to do exactly that. With courage, there's no stopping you. How can you summon the courage to face your fears? As a woman, you're amazing and you have great capabilities. Do not let anyone tell you otherwise. How then can you maximize these great capabilities? As you'll find out in the series Women of Courage, the women we wrote about succeeded against all odds simply by standing up for themselves. Just like them, you can make your life count too.
You can find the series Women of Courage at www.touchedbythelight.us. Please pay close attention to this information, because Thousands and thousands and thousands of people suffer because of low self esteem. It is keeping them from winning, it's keeping them from being happy, and it's also keeping them from dealing with bullies in their lives. When you have low self esteem or negative self esteem, you put little value on your opinion or on your ideas. You focus on your weaknesses, what you perceive as weaknesses, and your faults, and you give little credit to your skills and assets. You believe that others are more capable or successful than you. You probably have difficulty in accepting positive feedback. You might fear failure, which can hold you back from exceeding at work or at school. When you have healthy self esteem, this means you have a balanced view of yourself. For instance, you have a good opinion of your abilities. You recognize your flaws, but you also recognize what you're good at doing. When self esteem is healthy and grounded in reality, it's hard to have too much of it. Boasting and feeling superior to others around you is not a sign of too much self esteem. It is more likely that you feel insecure and you have low self. You boast because you do not want people to recognize what you think are flaws in your personality. When you value yourself and have good self esteem, you feel secure and worthwhile. You have positive relationships with others and you feel confident about your abilities. You are also open to learning and open to feedback, which can help you acquire and master new skills. When you have healthy self esteem, you are assertive in expressing your needs and opinions. You're confident in your ability to make decisions. You are able to form secure and honest relationships and are less likely to stay in unhealthy relationships. You're realistic in your expectation and you are less likely to be overcritical of yourself or others. You are more resilient and are better able to weather stress and setbacks. Self esteem affects virtually every facet of your life. Maintaining a healthy, realistic view of yourself is not about blowing your own horn. It's about learning to like and respecting yourself, your flaws, and all. Please pay close attention to the next information. Low self esteem is a negative evaluation of oneself. This type of evaluation usually comes or occurs when some circumstance we encountered in our life touched on our sensitivities. We personalized the incident and experienced physical, emotional, and cognitive arousal. This is so alarming and confusing that we responded by acting in a self defeating and self destructive manner. When that happens, our actions tend to be automatic and impulse driven. We feel upset, emotionally blocked, our thinking narrows, our self care deteriorates, we lose our sense of self, we focus on being in control and become self absorbed. Raising your self esteem is possible, but it requires that we grow as we face our fears and learn from our experiences. Some of this type of work will require you to see a psychotherapist. Do not reject the idea of a psychotherapist. Some of the things that you can do on your own is one is try to stop self-destructive behavior. One of the things is try to get rid of your addictions. Try to replace them with self-care. Practice self-care by joining self-help groups and practicing positive health care. Try to identify triggers that cause the feelings inside of yourself. Start paying attention to yourself. Watch how you respond to your thoughts. Acknowledge when you talk to yourself negatively. Give yourself a choice on how you want to respond. You have the right to identify what you like and what you truly do not like. You have the right to reject what you do not like and what you truly do not need for yourself. You do not have to be detached. you can confront the things in life that you do not like. If you do not like your job, then go back to school and change your situation. Be more assertive. Voice what you see, what you feel, and what you want to make occur. Start using statements beginning with the word I. By expressing your thoughts and feelings and desires in a direct and honest manner, you can show other people that you are changing your life. And finally, last but not least, remove the words if, can't, shouldn't, wouldn't, maybe, I might from your vocabulary. I am going to pause for a second to take a short break. Become a sponsor of the Women of Courage show by inviting 10 women for a pleasant afternoon to listen to us speak at your venue. Help us change our community to one of peace and harmony. The Women of Courage show is supported by the Women and Children's Restoration Ministries to help women problem solve and to help women realize their dreams. Women should believe that anything is possible. Our sole purpose is the restoration of injured women, both physically and mentally. We meet twice a month on Saturday at a local restaurant to discuss subjects germane to women. We see 5 main problems of black women that we must solve ourselves. One is the sexual abuse of children, bringing unrelated males into the home and fail to notice changes in behavior. Rape and murder of black women, failure to learn the warning signs, breast cancer, which is a failure to be examined, sex trafficking of black women, accepting prostitution as a way of life, economic trials of black women due to the inability to read or lack of education. Learn how to sponsor the Women of Courage show by speaking to our spokesperson, Renee of WHPR. She can be reached at renee88.1fm at gmail.com. I repeat, renee88.1fm at gmail.com. She will tell you all about it, or you can leave a message at the number 734-686-1444. Thank you.
Having a goal or a plan to accomplish something isn't enough. You need to dig deeper than that. You need to tap into your subconscious to begin to reprogram your mind. And you do this through positive affirmations. Short statements that you repeat every day, regardless of your goal, how big or little. Whether your goal is to make more money, be a better boyfriend or girlfriend, or find a better job, whatever your goal is, you need to come up with short, positive statements about that goal and repeat it each morning. Start by doing this for 5 minutes. And once you begin to do this, you will start to see how the subconscious and conscious mind can work together. You have the potential to do amazing things. And through positive affirmations, you start to build that confidence. Think of all the goals that you've made in the past. Think about the mindset you were in at that moment. It was one of confidence and control. I will be successful in my job. I will make my next promotion. I will meet the love of my life. These are words of affirmation. Now tell me, what are your words?
the Women of Courage Show broadcast on WHPR 88.1 FM every Friday from 3 to 4 p.m. and every Sunday from 8 to 9 a.m. Please remember, if you are not in your car or near radio during our broadcast, we can be seen and heard on your computer if you go to TV33WHPR.com. Again, TV33WHPR.com. Scroll down to the bottom of the page and click on the link WHPR 88.1 FM. We can also be heard on your phone if you download the free app WHPR TV Detroit Live, or listen to us on Roku at WHPR TV Detroit Live 88.1 FM. If you missed one of our broadcasts, you can view our archive on YouTube at the Touched by the Light Publishing channel. Twice a month on Saturday, I meet with my listeners for a discussion about issues affecting women. Please join us. For dates, times, and directions, you can reach us at murderedvoices@gmail.com. Do not forget the dates September 14th and October 5th. Both of these dates are a Saturday. Rather than conduct our regular Saturday meetings, the Women of Courage Show is holding 2 workshops at the Southfield Pavilion in the multi-purpose room. The regular tickets for these events are $20. You can contact Renee of WHPR at 707-881-7363 for tickets and more information about the event and the vendor opportunities. This is going to be a spectacular event. You will not forget this experience. There is only one person in this state that can give a workshop like this. The last time she gave a workshop, it was for the Association of Black Social Workers at the Center on Woodward. During the workshop, not one word was spoken by anyone except by the narrator. And when the social workers left the workshop, there was not one handout left on the table. You will want to share this event with your friends and family. Bring your business cards to share. The Women of Courage Show encourages women to respect other women and to support women in business. It is only when we work together that we win. Because of the city fire codes, these are limited capacity workshops. Please purchase your tickets early so you will not miss out on hearing from one of the world's most prolific writers. Our speaker is the only person in America who has researched the murders of more than 20,000 women. She was in college when Masters and Johnson published their 1957 to 1994 work on human sexuality. She vowed then that she would complete an equally important work. She accomplished this task between the ages of 57 and 69. Her research is entitled "Do This in Remembrance of Me." You will want to hear what this woman has to say. Remember, Renee of WHPR TV 33 can help you with tickets. God bless and keep believing. The best revenge against your enemy is for you to succeed. Dear listeners, help us save a life. Stop breast cancer from taking lives. Will you assist us in putting the booklet Black Women and Breast Cancer in the hands of 1 million people? Please go to the website www.touchedbythelight.us and download the booklet Black Women and Breast Cancer. Then email this booklet to 5 friends, asking them to email the booklet to 5 of their friends. We are trying to reach 1 million women with this information to save lives. The death of one woman to breast cancer from our community is one woman too many. We thank you for your support. Remember, if you miss one of our shows, you can visit our YouTube channel at Touched by the Light Publishing to watch and listen to previous episodes of Women of Courage. Thank you. Thank you for listening to Women of Courage, and have a great day.